Before you begin a look like this, you want to flatten your eyebrows. I used a silicone adhesive as well as a wax to flatten mine, but use whatever method you prefer. Using OCC's pencil in Feathered, I created a rough sketch of a skull shape onto my face. I like using a white eyeliner because you can easily brush away any mistakes that you make. As you can see, I created eye sockets as well as a nasal cavity and just a rough outline of where the cheekbones would be as well as the jawline. Also kind of gave me a rough map of where I was going to put the teeth. Again, as I say, this helps me know where I'm going to place my highlights, my lightest shades, as well as my darkest shades, my shadows. The next step in this skull process is to create a base for the gold pigment to stick to. So I'm going to be using OCC's Cream Color Concentrate in Cthulhu, which is the coolest name ever, to kind of flesh out the skull. And I'm just applying that to all of the areas of the bone. To create the empty cavities or empty spaces of the skull, I used the black from the Makeup Forever Flash palette and just applied that in those areas. I chose this black because it's super creamy. As you'll see, I'm using it to create kind of the hollows from where the cheekbone ridge meets the kind of teeth. There is a hollow kind of there, so I'm just using that black to create the illusion of the hollow. For this beautiful metallic goodness, I'm using Sugarpill's Chromolust in Goldilux, which you've probably seen in a ton of my tutorials because I really do like it. And I'm applying this pigment wet, also known as foiling a pigment. Anytime you kind of use a mixing medium and mix it with an eyeshadow pigment, it's called foiling. So that's what I'm doing. I'm using Krylon Cell Sealer, mixing it with a pigment, and just patting it on top of the Cthulhu base. To intensify the negative spaces of the skull, I went in and used Milani's Black Ink Shadow Eyes pencil. This pencil is great, it's matte, it's dark, and it's smudge proof. Excellent for eyelids, especially if you're going to be, filling in your eyelid with black. I like to use this one a lot. I did forget to use eyeshadow and set it at this point, but I do fix it later on in the tutorial. I also use this pencil to help define the jawline as well as to intensify any shadows that occurred around the skull, especially around the cheekbones and the hollow between the cheekbones and the teeth. I like to wait till later on in doing a skull makeup to do the teeth, so now it's time to do those teeth. And I've just gone in with that Cthulhu base again and applied the Goldilux pigment on top of that. Next, I'm going to use a black eyeshadow to lightly map out where I want the teeth to be. Do it very lightly so you can easily fix any mistakes that you may make. Then I went in with a black face paint from Wolf Brothers and drew in each tooth. As you can see, this is, pretty standard drawing teeth business. And then I took that black face paint as well to create divots in the skull right above where the teeth are. These divots kind of naturally occur in the skull, and it's just, different forms and shapes of the skull, and I'm just creating the illusion that they're there. I always like to add a little bit of eyeshadow, especially for shading purposes. So this is the black from Saucebox's Etude palette. And I just used a bullet style brush to apply that in different areas where I wanted to add, more shading to the skull and give it more dimension. I took that black face paint again and just applied a small thin crack above the bridge of the nose, as well as defined the nasal cavity a little bit more. And to finish off this 24 karat gold skull, I went in with that Milani pencil again onto the eyelid and then patted Saucebox's black eyeshadow on top of it to set. And that, my friends, wraps up the first skull in my Beautiful Death series, which is going to be a series of skull makeups. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. I have worked very hard coming up with this idea, as well as the series concept and all this fancy editing. I feel fancy. But yeah, if you have any ideas for a skull makeup, leave them below, and if I use your idea, I will definitely credit you in the video. Otherwise, join me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can find me there, and we can talk and interact and all that fun stuff. Otherwise, thanks again, guys, for watching. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.